me some ice. Skin me a peach and save the fuzz for my pillow. Poach me a prawns, talk to me nice. You got to wine me and dine me. I'm getting hungry. Peel me a grape.
Well, hi there, Cooking Club members. Welcome to today's webinar, and we are making cauliflower chicken nachos. These nachos for me are more than a snack, they're really a meal. And while the recipe is written for cauliflower only, I have been known to make some baked tortilla chips out of corn tortillas, preferably homemade, and slip a few of those in there. Usually half and half. But really, the cauliflower is satisfying, and I totally promise you, you'll feel better eating a couple of cups of these than you would if you made the dish with fried tortilla chips. So the whole point of a dinner or a snack like this is it needs to happen fast, and this really does. So my oven is preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and I have some really large cauliflower florets in front of me, and I'm going to slice those up to the best of my ability into half-inch slices. Now, as you know, slicing a cauliflower into half-inch slices isn't all that easy, but I'm going to do the best I can. And I need a total of 8 cups. So you just have to kind of do the best you can to keep it together and get them sort of thin. And there's always going to be some of these little extra pieces there, and they're super good, so those can go in too. You don't have to throw those away. I can see I almost have my 8 cups, so one more, and I'll set the rest of this aside and use it for something else. It was a very, very big head of cauliflower. All right, with that done, let's just bring our bowl here. Big bowl, you need a big one because you have to toss all of that cauliflower. And I have 3 tablespoons of avocado oil, a nice light neutral oil. And then to that, I'm going to add a whole bunch of seasoning. I've got here a teaspoon of chili powder, a teaspoon of ground cumin, a teaspoon of onion powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. And I want to mix this up first because I want to coat this as evenly as I possibly can. I can see I've got a couple of chunks in my onion powder. It tends to kind of solidify as it sits over time. But I love recipes like this because, as you know, I like to keep my spice drawer active, and this is a really good one for that. Okay, and then let's get all this cauliflower in. And I kept my gloves on because the best way to do this is with your hands. And you have to be a little bit gentle about it because, of course, you don't want to break them up any more than they already are. Although some of these bigger ones I am going to break in half just because I want them to not be too large. I'm sort of thinking of the size of a chip. And I'm taking my time with this because I really want this well distributed. And you can see all those little tiny pieces. They're really happy to suck up all of the seasoning, so you need to keep tossing for a little while here. I think I mentioned that my oven is at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and I have coated or covered a baking sheet just for easy cleanup with foil. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, or you could use parchment paper. It smells so spicy. Okay, I'm going to call that good. Now, I'm going to coat this with some cooking spray just to keep things from sticking. And then all of my cauliflower goes in a single layer right here on my baking sheet. All right, then this goes into the oven, and I'm going to bake these for 20 to 25 minutes. Make sure they're in a single layer. And while they are baking, we are going to work on our salsa. All right, let's make our salsa. So I have a couple of tomatoes here. I list avocado as an option. You can certainly use avocado. If you do, I'd eliminate one of these tomatoes and substitute it with avocado. The reason I don't always use avocado is sometimes I can't get good ones. I do live in Minnesota. That's one reason. The other reason is that if I want to keep the salsa for any length of time, it doesn't hold up because the avocado is naturally brown. And there are tricks to help with that, but it doesn't really solve it completely. So for today, I'm not using avocado, so I'm using 2 tomatoes. And I just want to chop those up nicely. So that's what we're going to do. Slice them first, and then I'll cut them into nice little dice. We're getting just to the end of our tomato season, but these are looking pretty good, and they are nice and ripe, which is, of course, going to make this salsa so good. All right, that's it. So 2 tomatoes, and now we need some cilantro. Oh, let's do our jalapeno first. We have a nice jalapeno here, and I'm just gonna cut that very tip off, and then some nice thin slices. I'm not seeding it, so it's gonna have a little bit of heat, but jalapenos are still pretty low on the Scoville scale, so not too much heat, but just enough to keep things interesting. I'm taking it right down to the end here. Get rid of that top, and in these go, and I can smell that that's got some heat going on. It's kind of airborne. All right, now we can do a 1/4 cup of chopped cilantro leaves, and I'm gonna pull the leaves off and then just give them a rough chop. In this particular cilantro, I did try stripping it. Sometimes you can get lucky and you can just strip it right off. Doesn't work with this one, so I'm pulling. The ones in my garden, that worked perfectly, but this is not from my garden, so it's a little different. And I do want to take out any stems that I happen to see lurking there that made it into the mix, just because I don't want any stems in the middle of this. I want leaves only. Okay, just a rough chop on that. One more time through. Just make sure that every leaf did get some sort of a chop going, and then in that goes. We only have 2 ingredients left, and that is our red onion. And again, this is really pretty when you use avocado instead of all tomato, but it lasts for maybe an hour or so. Oops, I just put all of this into my garbage bowl. That's not good. All right, so these, I've already cut some off of this onion. You can probably see, so I've done some little cuts in here already. I need 2 tablespoons. And I want that fairly fine. Now that's looking really good. Okay. And that red onion, very distinctive flavor, absolutely wonderful with this. All of these flavors are so Mexican and going to work so well with our nachos. Okay, now let's give that a stir. First, a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, and then we'll mix it all up. We still have a few minutes left on our cauliflower nachos. They'll be coming out of the oven in just a moment. Okay, I can really smell that taco seasoning. It is so aromatic and so delicious smelling. So I have here a cup of black beans. I'm going to kind of smush these together because now I want them to be touching each other so I can top them. Okay, black beans, evenly distributed. Looks good. Okay, and then 2 cups of cooked chicken, shredded. I think the first time I made these, I actually cubed the chicken. This might be a little bit more than 2 cups. So what I'm going to do is just cover this nicely. I'm not sure I'm going to use all of it. Yeah, I'll use it all. It's fine. We'll eat it. And then I have 3/4 of a cup, kind of generous one, of Mexican shredded cheese. This is a mix of, I'm not sure exactly what's in it. It's cheddar probably and Monterey Jack. Maybe Colby. Cover that whole thing up. And then what I'm going to do is put this back in the oven, still at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and let the cheese melt, and that will warm up everything and turn it into one big platter of lovely nachos. Okay, back in the oven. Okay, so these are out of the oven and looking nice and melty and hot. And let me get a plate here. Just have to remember to keep my hot pad handy. So I am not going to plate up all of this because it's just us here, but what I am going to do is let this cool off, the majority of it. I'm going to make us a little snack right now. Cool this off, put it in the fridge, and then we can just reheat it at 375 for 5 minutes when we want to finish it off later. But for now, we'll make a little snack for us. The big thing is just to be able to separate these so you kind of keep them together. You can see how beautiful that cauliflower is, and this smells very, very spicy and good. I think that's enough for us to just munch on, don't you, Mark? Sure. Like that. And I've got my salsa. Again, let me just move this, because I really did just take this right out of the oven. Move it like that. My salsa is over here. I want to make sure I get some beautiful color and heat. And it's kind of getting a little juicy on the bottom, so I've got a knife, a slotted spoon to drain that, because I don't want to make this dish soggy. Oh, that looks so pretty. Let's get a little more of it there. There, okay, perfect. And then on top of that, just for a little crunch, I'm going to add a little shredded cabbage. Not too much, just a little to finish it off and give a little extra freshness to it. Okay, perfect. And I'll wipe off this plate. Cannot wait to eat these. What do you think? Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. So I really hope you enjoy making my cauliflower chicken nachos. Let me know how it goes, and we'll see you next time. Take care.